Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. And today I got one more interesting thing that we are going to perform. Before jumping into that, please check out my channel page where I uploaded certain different kind of problem statement. If it helps to enhance your skill set, please like the video, subscribe my channel. Now let's check the what is exactly today we are going to do. So we are going to today create this particular KPI chart, which looks great. It gives you a different kind of an information at a different level. So what we have today, it's like we have a let's say 1 week filter, 1 month filter, 3 months filter, 1 year filter. So these we have this kind of a filter. Within this 1 week filter, let's say if I select 1 week, how much is the total sales? How much is the delta with respect to the previous week? What exactly the change is about? And what exactly the previous period sales is on the selected particular thing, and how the breakdown of this 15k sales. And based on this, we are also trying to create the moving average. So let's see how we can create this kind of beautiful looking KPI chart, which helps to enhance your dashboard to a certain extent, and it might be useful for you as well to have a multiple information at a same place. So for this, what we need. So let's go with the data first. So I have the sales superstore data, which is readily available in the market. You can use that. And here we have the order date, which is based on which we are going to create, let's say how many weeks of data we want to filter, or let's say 1 month, 3 months, 1 year. So like this, and based on the at the sales level. Now, for what is the prerequisite we need? So first we need the very basic generic measure is like, if I just think of like, if I want to recreate, what could be the logic for this? So we need the filter, something which looks like this. Then we need how much is the sales in that particular selected period. Then based on the period selection, how much is the change with respect to the previous selection? Let's say if it is a 1 week, then we need to calculate the previous 1 week sales. If it is selected 1 month, then we need to calculate previous 1 month sale. And what is the then similarly, what exactly the previous period sales is. Now breaking this 89k into bar graph, where we will see on a date basis how much is the sales looks like, and we will see a moving average on this. So moving average, I just wanted to add a one layer of difficulty on that. You can have, let's say, some other kind of KPI based on your requirements you can add. So these are the flow of the problem statement is. Now for this problem statement, what are the things we required? As the first will be the slicer. So for the slicer, what I have done is I have created a table, predefined table, which says 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 1 year, and all. So based on your requirement also, you can add or subtract whatever the things you require. And based on this, I have an index. Why I'm having the index is because I want to sort it, let's say, with minimum to maximum kind of thing. So if you see, the week is the smallest in the period time frame, then month is above that, and the 3 months was likewise. So based on this index, I can sort it. Now the second thing what I have done is like created a date table. And date table is nothing based on the minima and the maxima order date that I have. And there are few, let's say, year, month number, or XYZ, we have things. Now, what we are doing is here right now is like connecting this sales superstore data with my date table based on the date. If you see, so based on the date, I am order date and the date I am going to create this thing. Now we have the basic full requirements are done. Now we can start recreating this thing. So first we need the slicer. So I'm just using the tile slicer here, and let me just reshape it initially itself, because we will going to do a lot of reshaping, and so it looks like something like this. So I can go to the slicer setting. Let's see if it is a single select or multi select. So this is a single select slicer. Sell out value, call out value. It's like, let's take it as 13. Let's have a decent 15 only. Layout, if I go here, middle align, and then we go here in the layout section. We have maximum number of row. We want one single row, and we have the 5 different selections. So we have the 5 selections, and we do not require any title. And at the same time, we can remove the padding as well here. Okay, no. So instead of a space between the things, we can remove this. So we are started pretty decently that we have the slicer values. If I select week, so first week data will be filter and based on this. Now what we need? We need a line and a cluster column chart, because we are also want to show the line and the moving average. You can, if you don't want it, you can just directly take it as a cluster column chart also here. So let me select this. Let me place here, and let me format a bit initially itself. And so for this, what I have done is like this. Sorry. I have created a first measure, that is my sales, which is already being created here. I will just use this, and I will use my date here. I just select date and create it into, let's say, date. So this is how it looks like 3 years of data. It looks very cluttered as of now. Then we will start doing the things. Now we have all these things. Now what we need. So based on the selection, let's say if I selecting first week of date, first week, let's say last week or first week kind of thing. So we need, from maximum date, we need the previous 1 week of data. So for this, we require the min and the max date. Okay. So if you see max date, I have calculated using the sales superstore data, order date. We are trying to see the maximum date, remove the filter from the corresponding date, and we will get the maximum date. So if I just have a card also, so side by side, we will do this. So let me do this thing actually. Move it bit to the left, and we will have the measure one by one. So if I just select max date here, so if you see, we have a data till 2018 of December. So this is what we have. And similarly, we will have the minimum date of this. So we have the minimum date. Now what we next? Based on this maximum and minimum date, we can see, like, we can filter out the period data. So for this, we are creating selected value based on the date selection that we have, because date selection is something we are selecting. So if I just remove this thing, I will add. So we have selected 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 1 year. So like this. So this will be selected. Now what next? Based on this selection, we need to filter out our date here. So let's say if I'm selecting 1 month, so from maximum date to previous month, that is the November, we need the date. So let me do this. So I have already created this measure. So what it does, it tries to find out the maximum date plus one. Okay, it goes to 31st. Then it goes to minima of the date, and do the minus one. Why I'm doing this thing? Let me show this thing. And we need to switch this particular date based on that selection. So if it is a, let's say, 1 week of data, so max date minus 7. Then 1 month will do, we are using e date here. If I just, what I can do, so if you see e date returns the date indicated in the number of month or after we have. So we are saying that we need 1 month older data only. So what we can do, max date minus 1, since we need only 1 month of data. So what it will do, it will go exactly 1 month before, that is November, if I select 1 month. Similarly, the 3 months we have, and similarly we have the 1 year of that, where we are subtracting the minus 12. And at last, if we want to select all the dates, so that the minimum date will be your minima date is there. Now this is it. What I can do, I will just select this particular date here. So 1 week, if you see, we are at the maximum is 30th. 1 week data is like 24th. If I select 1 month, we are at the 11th of November to December of maximum date. We have the 3 months, 1 year, all. Now, one more thing that I have not included in the slicer is like current year. or fiscal year, or let's say the January, we want to start at a January. So that is a one thing that when you are going to this video, and you can practice it and add an additional feature to your context. So that will help to have some kind of a different learning what I'm doing, and exploration will be there. So once we have this minimum date that at what period we have to go, we are sorted. Now we need that in our axis here. We need to filter out that in our axis. So let me go this. So based on this selection, I need to filter out my sales value. If you see, we are in the date column. Okay, what I am doing is like calculate the sum of sales for, we are selecting 1 week. So go to the first week till the maximum point, give me the sales value. So what I can do is here, I will just select this thing, remove this particular thing and add here. So if you see for 1 week, last 1 week, there is a 15K sales is there. What it means is like in previous, this is the actually nothing but the date between, keep the filter between these particular dates, and we have figured it out in the previous measure that what exactly the date is and how the maximum date is. Similarly, let's say if I select 1 month, so it will filter out the 1 month data and calculate the sales. So this is something we can use in our axis. So if I just remove this thing and add my this particular thing, sorry. So here we go. So if you see here, we have selected 1 week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the 7 dates of days of data we have selected. Now, if I come back to this particular measure, if I do not do this particularly max date +1, what it happens is like this. Let's see, did not change or what? It got hanged up actually. Okay, it's still running in the background. My laptop is a bit slow, but let's see. Here, if you see, we have 4 date of data. So that's why we have to here add +1. And this is how actually this E date and the combination of E date and the max date that we are using here. You can use also some other way of doing it this thing. But if you are using E date and the way I have calculated the max date, then you have to add +1 and the -1 here. So hope you are able to follow this point that, okay, why we have added the +1 and the -1. Now coming back to the thing. So we are good that, okay, that how many, whatever we are going to select in our slicer, it will be reflected here. Let's say if I select 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, like this. So what I can do here, I will just remove these things. We do not require anymore. Now let's go to the demo section and let's see what are the things that we are remaining here. So if I go here, so we need this particular scene, the total sales in 1 month and what exactly the changes. So now this is the second part of the things that we need to create. How you can do that? So since we already have created based on the selection, what is the current state of the sales, we can also calculate the previous also. How to do this thing? So let's see. So we have already created this thing, particular measure. So if you remember that we have created this 3 selected min date, we have, this will be the initial period and till your minimum date, it will go. So what it means is like, if we select, let's say, particularly 1 week of that particular selection, so it will go till 24th of that. And this will be the maximum date here, it will be the 24th, and we were going to 7 days back. So that will be a previous exactly comparison of apple to apple is happening. If it is a month, let's say we are calculating till November sales here in particular using this here, but we want to see the October sales. So this is how you can create. You have to use subtract the dates which we have already calculated. So this will help you to get the exact previous period based on the selection dynamically. And similarly, once you have created this particular thing, okay, let me do that thing. If I select 1 week here, I will just select this particular thing. Let me check if it works. It's okay. Here we go. If you remember that just previously we had, okay, let me do this. So, no, my bad. So if you see 1 week, we are going for the 1 week data. Now we have to go one more week behind this thing. So this will be the maximum date till this date. We have to figure it out from this point. From 16th to 24th, we are going to calculate the sales now. So for this, I've already created one more measure here, which says calculate the sales by keeping filter for a given date between the past period and the minimum, like let's say whatever the selected period in the slicer. So 1 week period, let's say this is till 24. So this is 2016 to 24. Give me the sales value. So let me do this. I will add this particular sales value here. So this is that. If you see, these values are getting changed 1 month, 3 months, likewise. Okay. Now what else we require here? So here, if I go 26K, if you see, this value matches. This value matches. Now what we need? Second thing, we also need the moving average here. So here, how we can calculate the moving average, this is, we are going to see. So we are just taking manually as of now 7 days of moving average. You can also do one more thing, that add a parameter, and then based on the parameter selection, let's say you want 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, you can make it dynamically also. So it's depending upon your requirement, what you need. And for this particular date period, we are trying to see how the date filters, the sales value will be calculated. So last day will be like, let's say 7 days, 7 days of moving average, 6 days of moving average. So this will be there. And this will give you the average value, moving average. And this will be the period for which you want to create a moving average. So we are just saying that wherever, because since let's say 1 week of data, so you will have the sales value for 1 week. For that week only, we want to calculate the moving average. So for this particular date period, based on the date range of period that you want to calculate, you will get the moving average. So if I just put this here instead of, sorry, my bad. I will just have this moving average. So moving average thing is still, I would say it's not something that you might require. Most of the time it does not. But if you want to, you can calculate in this way. So moving average is there. And based on this selection, I've just taken correct. Yeah. Now, because it takes the first value, uh, then we want to see calculate the change here. Okay. So let me first add the moving average here in y-axis. If you see, the moving average is being calculated here, and we do not require the legends. Title, I will come back to the later on the title. Let me remove the grid lines also at the same time. We do not require that. It depends on the uh, whatever the requirement of a particular dashboard is, and based on that you can have a grid line, or you can avoid having a grid line. I'm removing the title of respective axes. So we are good here. We have the moving average based on the selection. It will change. Now, what else we require? Now we need this thing, the change, and we are talking about now. If I just select a card new value here, let me do this. Change it to card new. What we need here? First, we need the particularly, let's say past. We can have the past week, and as well as we can. So here, if you see here, we have the current sales also. Let me select this thing. So we have this, what is the current sale of this particular week and what is the change. So we are going to replicate the same thing here. So instead of this, actually, I will not take this one, sorry. And then how to calculate the current change, or let's say current selection. So we are saying that we have selected the week, 1 week. So we need to calculate the change with respect to the week. So if you remember that thing in the later, we have the current selection that is the 15K. We have also calculated this particular value in the previous, like how much is the previous period's sales based on the selection. We have this thing and we can use this as a here. And I also calculated the delta, how the delta looks like. So the change exactly. So this is the difference between the current and the previous and how much is the change. Once you do this, calculate this particular thing, we need to color that also because we want to change the color of that also. So based on the conditional formatting, we are going to do that. So if you see here, I have just added like if the delta is let's say greater than equals to 0, then give me green color. If it is less than 0, the change, then give me the red color. And this is how we are going to format it. So let's say I will just come this to the later thing. What I can do here is like I will just here have this thing. And one more thing that I will add here is particular thing, this particular thing. It doesn't look good at all. So if you see, for first week of selection, there is a 15K sales. There is a decrease in the sales with respect to the previous period, that is minus 20, minus 11K. And that change correspond to 42%. So this looks bit odd. Instead of that, what I can do is here, I can use this particular format where if you see here, we have this 11K sales, which is a delta, and 42% change with downward direction. So what I can think of right now is just remove this thing and this thing. Instead of that, I will directly use my this particular corrected format here. So here we are good, like it looks decent, but still I need to figure it out a way that it makes sense. What I can go here, call out value. Let me do one thing. First of all, I will just remove the title. Let me do this values. No, we need the values. Labels we do not require. Label, reference label. Okay, this is where we should come. If I select this thing, what I can do, I will remove this thing. I will, in my reference, I will do this particular 7 corrected format. Here we are. Now what we need is we do not require the title. We are good. Now the basic difference between the value, if you see value, we do not color it. If we do want to do some kind of a conditional formatting, it is not being allowed. So instead of that, what I can do is if you see here detail here, we have the font color as well as the background color. So instead of keeping this as a value, what I can do is like go to detail section, add this particular measure here. So here we are that, okay, let me do as the din 15. If you see, it is currently as a black color. So unique care is nothing but if you use 96650, it will be having an upward arrow. And unique care, if you use 9660, it will have the downward arrow. So let me do this. Conditional formatting, go to conditional formatting, field value, select this particular color, 7 delta, this thing. So this is being red color. And and if I want to do the background, sorry, background color as well, I need to do it same way, field value, and I have to select 7 underscore delta. So it has been background color is there, but we can just remove the transparency to let's say 60. We can do it a bit more. Yes. Yeah. So this is it, right? But still it's not looking the same way that we wanted to have it. So call out value, if I go here, it's too big actually. Let me have the 20. It looks better. Okay. It is more comparable also. So make sure this thing, whenever you are on a reference level, you first select, let's say this particular, whatever the measure that you are going to do, then add a label. So this makes it, gives you more option. But here we cannot change the, let's say, layout. We want that in one single row, we want both the values like this. If you see here, here it's in like two columns, I would say, or two columns are there in a single row. So what I can do here, I will just select again, go here, go to reference label, then select all, and now this option value is then popped up. Okay, then right below, instead of below, just do right. Okay, we are good. We are taking the title off, we are taking the value, we do not require the divider. uh, when spacing, we can do the spacing a bit. Okay, or what I can do here is rectangle size, background remove, border removed, and what else we can do? So what else we can do is call out, make it smaller. Uh, okay, this will be a challenge, like how you want to shape this thing particularly. First, let me have the title here. Total sales. Let me have 25 gold. Let's have a divider. No, divider is not, subtitle is not required. Spacing, what you can do is spacing, you can just add a bit space to this. Now still it's not in a single line. So let's see what we can do for this. If I go here again, reference value, I will select this particular date in details. What I can do is like, if I reduce the font, what it happens? Okay, it's okay. It came, and image we do not require. I have to go to the card section in series for this particular thing. Normal sizing is fine. Accent bar we do not require. Now, what I can do here is like, this looks bit odd. So what else we can do? Go to modeling, oh sorry, view, take the selection, and this, what is the date selection? So date selection should come above the card. So here we are. So let me do this. Let expand a bit, and date selection is there. Card is there. No, we do not require this. Date selection should go above. So this is how you can place it. It will be a tough thing actually to place it a bit. How you want to place it, you need to figure it out. Sometimes it will be easy, sometimes it will be a difficult task. And every time you will do it, it will have some other thing. So what I can do is like this here. I will just go here, reference value. It is being centrally aligned or not. Let me check that first. We do not require this. I have to go to card, select all. I have to go to alignment, which is centrally or bottom align. Yes, I can do the bottom alignment. Yes, this works good. Yes, and I have to do it bit smaller here. So if you see, we are almost done actually. If I just compare, now the formatting and the things are required. We have the weeks, we have the values, only the title is required, and we have to do some kind of formatting. So what I can do, I can just pick this up. Let me do this. Let me have it here. And what I can do, let's start with first our chart. So as first, let's settle the axis. So minimum is, let's say, 0. because we want both the things to be accessed start from the zero. And so we are done this thing. But still there is something, the max value we want to settle it up, and based on the sales value, we should do the max value. So what I can have taken is like max value I have already created, where we are saying between this particular selection, give me the maximum value of the sales. And this we are going to use in the secondary y-axis. If I go here, secondary y-axis, field value, I will just select 9. This is it. This. So we are settled here. So first thing, like we are axis, we are good. Now, what I can do is secondary axis, values. I have to do this. Now, if you see here, it depends on you, like whether you want to have this moving average or not. And based on that, we can have it. But let's first do the title. If you go to general in title, if you see here, you can have a title, let's say total sales, you can have it. But instead of that, what we are thinking, like, can we have a previous, like whatever, let's say this is the current uh, selected period sales, can we have as a title that what exactly my previous period sales is? And we already created this particular measure here. So instead of that, what we can have is like, I have already created one measure. Let me do this previous period sales. So if you see previous period sales, this format into the thousand, like in K, and use that as a title. So what I can do is like, I will go here, field value, I will just select a previous period selected and click OK. So we have this thing. Now it's still, it looks very close, and it's not something that readable. What I can do, it's like this, add a divider. We have the divider. Now I will just go to this particular and padding position. If you see, it's 0. If you go into the properties and padding 0, just add a pad something. If you see it has been shifted, if I just make it 0, it just stick to the corner. But if I just, let's say, add a padding of 5, I would say I will go with 8. It will still downward. Okay, now we are good. So this is being done, this is being done, this is being done. Now we want to do some other steps. Let's say in background, let me remove the background. Okay. If once I remove the background, I will change my uh, thing to, let's say, something like this. It's totally depends on how you are using this thing. And once you are done, let's have the line little bit smaller, color. Color. Okay, I'm fine with the color. So we are done with this. The same thing, I will select this particular thing, go to this, remove the background. Same for my, sorry, date selection. I will go date selection, general. Here, I will skip the background. So everything, now we do not have any background as such. Now what we need is like something to cover this particular thing as a white. So here you have a multiple options. Like what I prefer, it's like I generally used to have a one shape insert, and you have to just select this particular rounded shape. Like so here you can have, uh, let me do this. Sorry. Then you can go to star. You can, sorry, you need to reduce, can increase at 10%. 10% is there. Go to style, change its color to white, remove its border. And if you see shape is there, right? Bring that shape to last. And this is it. You are done. So if you see, so based on your requirements, you can change and play around these things, and it will start looking more better. I will just make it a bit smaller. So it will, if you see this thing, if I just select this thing, I say, so one more interesting thing, like the date selection should be at the top. If I, let's say, what happens, the total sales is like this, and in between we have just tried to fit it this particular slicer. So if I just move total sales, let's say upward, what I can try. So you cannot access the slicer. So make sure that you go into the slicer selection, and in that selection, your slicer should be at the top. Filter or slicer, you whatever you call it, and this should be at the top. So hope you are able to follow till this point. If you are able to, please uh, like this video, follow for more Power BI updates, and try to recreate this thing. An additional thing that you can create is you can add one more slicer here, let's say category slicer, single selection. And as I said, that the moving average is something, it's right now I just fixed for the 7 days. You can have, let's say, 10 days, 2 days, 5 days, whatever based on the business requirement, you can have it. And try to recreate this particular KPI chart, and please comment if you have any other topic that I need to cover, and like the video, subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.